Hi, I'm Brenton Goodman, and this is You Decide. President Trump recently made the decision to remove Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook from her position as a governor on the board of the Federal Reserve. This does not seem like a big issue, except it goes straight to the heart of how much power a president should have, and it's raising a serious debate about the future of the Federal Reserve. So first, let's set the stage. The Federal Reserve is the central bank of the United States. It controls things like interest rates, money supply, and plays a massive role in steering the U.S. economy. The Board of Governors is made up of only 7 people. That's it. Just 7 governors who help set monetary policy for the entire country. So when one of them gets removed, it's a really big deal. Each governor serves a 14-year term. They're nominated by the president, but only confirmed if the Senate agrees. And once they're in, they can't just be fired like any other political appointee. The law says they can only be removed for cause. That usually means something like misconduct, neglect of duty, or inability to do the job. The point is, the Federal Reserve was designed to be independent to protect it from politics. So why is Trump's move to fire Lisa Cook such a big issue? Because it's not just about her, it's about the larger question of how much power a president has over agencies created by Congress that are supposed to be independent. Opponents of Trump are pointing to a famous Supreme Court case, Humphrey's Executor versus United States. In that case, the court said that some organizations like the Federal Reserve exist to serve a legislative and regulatory purpose, not just a political one. That means presidents shouldn't be able to use boards like the Fed as their own personal tools. Now, Trump supporters see it differently. They argue that the Federal Reserve Board exists to execute laws, and the Constitution says the president is the one responsible for executing the laws. So in their view, he can remove members for cause if he thinks they're not doing their job. They also point to a more recent case, Donald J. Trump versus Gwen A. Wilcox. In that case, the court found Trump's decision to remove a member of the National Labor Relations Board was likely lawful, and even suggested that in some situations he could fire members of boards like the NLRB without cause, except for some narrow exceptions. But here's where opponents push back. They argue that the Wilcox ruling actually went too far and that the court is overstepping its role. And even if you take Wilcox as the law of the land, the court itself admitted that the Federal Reserve is different. It's uniquely structured to be more independent than other agencies, and that independence deserves stronger protection. So, what's the official reason Trump gave for firing Lisa Cook? His administration says it's because of allegations that she made false statements on mortgage agreements. But here's the catch. There's no indictment and no conviction. Opponents say it's just an excuse to get rid of her so Trump can put in someone who agrees with his political and economic views. If that's true, it could flip the balance of the power on the Board of Governors to reflect more of his political views. Now, they also say this shows a pattern of nefarious allegations just for political advantage. For example, they point to how Trump's housing regulator has raised allegations against Lisa Cook, Adam Schiff, and Letitia James, all Democrats, but not against Texas Governor Ken Paxton, even though Paxton has been accused of breaking multiple housing laws himself. Trump supporters say, wait a minute, this is part of a bigger pattern. They argue that small-time allegations are often blown up against Trump and his political allies while being ignored when it comes to others, and that he is merely holding people accountable and protecting the integrity of an office that is vital to the financial well-being of the country. The Trump administration also points out that this isn't the first time something like this has happened. When President Biden came into office, he fired the general counsel of the NLRB after that person refused to step down. So they argue Trump is simply doing what presidents before him have already done. So, can Trump fire Lisa Cook for cause? You decide. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.